Thank you very much, Paul. Okay, so today is the 23rd of October. For those of you who are paying attention, especially to the field of cosmogony, or read Pharyngula, you'll know that today marks a very important date. Yes, according to Bishop Usher, today is the Earth's birthday. Indeed, the birthday of the entire cosmos. Today, the Earth turns 6013. Happy birthday, Earth! Also, as Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman pointed out, the Earth is a Libra. Have any of you heard of the Monty Hall problem? Yes? A couple of you? Yeah? It is fascinating. It's based on the television show Let's Make a Deal, and it goes something like this. You're on Let's Make a Deal, and Monty Hall has offered you a chance to win big. You're asked to select one of 3 doors. Behind one of the doors is a fabulous new car, but behind the other 2 are hilarious gag gifts that nobody would ever want. You point your finger toward one of the doors, trembling with excitement. Monty Hall smiles, and with a twinkle in his eye, he opens a different door, revealing a goat. Then, Monty Hall gives you a choice. You can either keep what's behind the door that you initially picked, or you can pick the 3rd unrevealed door. And the question is this: should you stay with your initial choice, or should you switch? Now, I've heard that even mathematicians argue about this one, because the solution is so contrary to common sense. But that's the problem. Common sense only gets us so far, right? You've probably heard it said that common sense is neither common nor sensible. So, it's great for things like determining whether your brothers split the piece of pie in half evenly or fairly. It's good for figuring out how far away Grandma's house is and how long it'll take you to get there. But try using common sense to ascertain the size and shape of the Earth, the motions of the planets, the age of the universe, the origin of life, the causes of and cures for disease, or even the solution to a fairly simple logic puzzle or math problem. And it can fail fairly spectacularly. It's often very wrong or very useless. In fact, I would wager that the entire scientific enterprise is built upon moving beyond common sense. I really enjoy figuring things out. I love to learn something new. Our species thrives on innovation. That seems to be our niche. Yes, I'm pandering here. Very cute kitten. Have you ever heard the old proverb, curiosity killed the cat? I hate that saying. When I was a kid, I asked a lot of questions. I imagine that I wasn't alone in this. Anyone have kids? I know a couple of you do. They're curious, right? Right. So I ask a lot of questions. I was mostly raised by my father, and he is a really great dad. Sure, he had some strange ideas, but moms and dads and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and husbands and wives and children and friends and pretty much anyone who isn't you is going to have some strange ideas, right? You deal with it. Anyway, my dad was a really great dad, but one of the many great qualities that made that really great dad great was the fact that he always, without fail, every time encouraged my curiosity. And if you'll excuse me for saying so, that's really fucking great. If I asked a question, he'd answer it usually, but he'd always come back with another question. He'd ask me something else. He'd get me thinking. He made me think about things, and no question was ever off limits. I think that curiosity is really important, but not everybody agrees with me. Try this quotation on for size. There is another form of temptation, even more fraught with danger. This is the disease of curiosity. It is this which drives us to try and discover the secrets of nature, those secrets which are beyond our understanding, which can avail us nothing, and which man should not wish to learn. Anyone know who said that? Yeah? That wasn't Martin Luther, but I can understand why you'd think so. He had some zingers. That was St. Augustine in his Confessions. And I like that quotation in probably the same way that Professor X likes Magneto, say. That kind of thinking is very dangerous. right? It leaves people dying of plagues and famines. It stifles innovation. It encourages an insular society, closed to new ideas. It discourages free inquiry, and it ultimately can avail us nothing. This isn't about religion, so I'll put this train back on its tracks in a second. But I just did want to share one more thought with you. Julian Baggini expressed this quite well, I think. It is arguable, he said, that humanism has a better grip on life's mysteries than religion. For example, I am genuinely in the dark about how the universe started, whereas plenty of religious believers have that hole in their understanding plugged by their deity. I'd rather not know and admit that I don't know than settle for a non-answer. To me, saying God did it is like saying it's magic. It doesn't actually answer the question. It doesn't give us any information. Okay, that's enough about that. I don't want to get preachy. Nobody likes preachy, right? You know, I briefly considered calling this talk The Disease of Curiosity, but frankly, I thought that was a brilliant idea. Luckily, my lovely wife convinced me that it wasn't. So that way we would have fewer talks at SkeptiCamp that sound like they're about contracting a venereal disease. Okay, let's learn something.
I promise to show you something really cool as long as you promise not to try it at home, okay? Okay. Now, everyone wants to know why my voice sounds higher when I inhale helium.
My simple fact is that helium is 6 times less dense than air, which means sound waves travel through it much faster, which makes my voice sound much higher. Now, the same effect can be achieved in reverse if I inhale something like
sulfur hexafluoride, which is 6 times denser than air. I inhale some of that, and my voice gets really low, although somehow I'm still funny. It's scientific!
Sulfur hexafluoride. Okay. Okay, so what have we learned? I learned that despite being a happily married heterosexual man, I have a huge crush on Adam Savage. I'm the lead developer of a Winnipeg software company, specializing in machine learning applications.
Woo.
As part of my job, I have to interview many prospective full-time, part-time, and co-op employees. I conduct about 20 interviews a year. These people are smart people, and the positions that they're interviewing for are challenging ones. Many are going to be working in one or more programming languages with which they have little or no experience. They'll be working with cutting-edge, expert systems, and quite frankly, they won't be paid very well. For this reason, the interview process that we go through is what can only be called grueling. These people's job will be to figure stuff out. You probably won't be surprised to learn that I prize the ability to solve an interesting, novel problem much higher than I do a knowledge base. If an applicant tells me that he or she has a working knowledge of Scilab, FreeMat, SQL, Perl, and Python, that's great. But it's not going to be a shoo-in. It won't get her a free pass. And so, as a warm-up, I like to ask a few riddles. So, you're presented with 4 cards lying on a table. Each card has a number on one side and a letter on the other. The 4 cards have the visible faces marked A, B, 2, and 3. Those are the only 4 cards. A, B, 2, and 3. They all have a number on one side, a letter on the other. You're also presented with an hypothesis, and that is, each card that has a vowel on one side has an even number on the other. You have permission to flip 2 cards to figure out what's on the other side of them. If you want to conclusively prove or disprove this hypothesis, which 2 cards do you flip? I'm going to poll the audience here. I'll let you think about that for a moment, though. Remember, the hypothesis is every card with a vowel on one side has an even number on the other. Okay? Which 2 do you flip?
There's only one right answer.
There is only one right answer. There's only one answer that will conclusively prove or disprove the hypothesis no matter what's on the other side of these 4 cards. So who thinks it's A and B? Hands up. Anyone? 2 and 3? No? A and 2? Hands up. Okay. How about B and 3? Okay. A and 3. B and 2. Nobody. Okay, so it looks like we had a pretty even split between A and 2 and A and 3. Why would we flip over A and 2? I'll come clean with you for a moment. This problem is pulled directly from the pages of John Allen Paulos' Enumeracy, a wonderful and eminently readable book on mathematics from which I try to plagiarize at least once daily. One of the things this problem does very well is showcase confirmation bias. That is to say, the tendency for us to look for information that confirms what we think, or confirms our hypothesis, rather than looking for information that disconfirms it. While many opted for flipping A and 2, flipping 2 actually adds no more information to the system. Remember that the hypothesis is that each card with a vowel on one side has an even number on the other, not that each card with an even number on one side has a vowel on the other. Right? So, if we flip 2, and it has a vowel on the other side, it conforms to our hypothesis, but doesn't confirm it conclusively. If we flip it, and it has a consonant on the other side, it's not part of the problem space. So regardless of what's on the other side of 2, we're fine. Doesn't matter. If you flip 3, however, and it has a vowel on the other side, that conclusively disconfirms the hypothesis, right? Because it's a card with a vowel on one side that doesn't have an even number on the other. So, that's a tough problem.